So my last video talked about Chip Kelly versus Geno Smith, and I kind of planted my flag in the Geno is part of the problem more so than Chip, or Geno is the bigger issue because he's just turning the ball over. And I don't care if you're Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay or John Gruden, it's going to be tough to call plays when your quarterback just throws the ball to the other team. And I would not fire Chip Kelly. I think we've done a lot of firing, and I think that's just an issue with the franchise, and I wouldn't go down that avenue, especially because that's just another coach that we have to pay that we're not, having work anymore. It's just like Antonio Pierce is collecting money, and Josh McDaniels and John Gruden. All these guys are collecting money, and Chip Kelly be another person that we're just paying to do nothing, to just go sit on vacation. But that's not a reason to keep someone. You keep someone because you believe in them, because there's nobody better. We were in limbo a long time with Derek Carr, right? We could have maybe drafted somebody else, but we stuck with Derek because it was comfortable and because he was good, not great. And quarterback is tough to move off of, especially when they're decent, because you think at any moment we can win this football game. Now, where am I going with this? My point is, even if Chip improves and the season turns around and he does okay, if there's a better candidate out there, you have to consider all options. I'm always about trying to get better, even when we're okay, we can do better. And Mike McDaniel is probably going to be available. And a great head coach, he was not. But an offensive coordinator, we know, in the league, he's had high levels of success at rates far beyond Chip Kelly's wildest dreams. So I'm going to get into the Mike McDaniel of it all, which is something that I think we should seriously consider. But before I do that, I need to tell you about our brand new sponsor, which I'm so excited about. This is so helpful for a lot of people. You've heard of it. It's called Fume. Look, as Raider fans, we know what it's like to have a bad habit. That bad habit being continuing to come back every season to watch Raider games expecting them to be better than they are. We always come back, and at this point, it's probably a bad habit. And if you're looking to kick the ultimate bad habit, then I think it's time for you guys to try Fume. Fume is a flavored air device designed to help people move away from vaping and smoking. Fume uses no vapor, no nicotine. It's an award-winning flavor device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. Instead of inhaling vapor, you simply breathe in natural food-grade ingredients that satisfy the craving without the addiction. And I will say, maybe the most interesting thing about this is that it doubles as a fidgeter. You can just kind of pull it out, do different things with it. It also looks, look at this thing. God, it's beautiful. No batteries required, no charging, just pick it up and use it. It is a fraction of the cost of vaping or smoking. You save money while making a better choice and breaking your bad habits. And Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. Now look, I went to high school in the late 2010s. I know what it's like to see people start to use different vaping products and be addicted to them still to this day. I lived through that generation. And if you're ready to break the ultimate bad habit, head over to tryfume.com/allaboard or scan the QR code and use ALLaBorde to get your free Fume topper with your first journey pack. Shout out to Fume. I'm so excited to have them. Let's get back to the video. Okay, and remember, guys, everything will be linked in the description below and to be in the pinned comment. Shout out to Fume. Okay. Would I fire Chip? No, I would not. Would I replace him with Mike McDaniel? Yes, I would. So both things could be true, and I do think this article on Just Blog Baby kind of hits the nail on the head here. So let's take a look here. It's by Levi. We love Levi too. Raiders Chip Kelly replacement is already becoming painfully obvious. Las Vegas should keep this idea in its back pocket. The Las Vegas Raiders offense has been a disaster during the 2025 NFL season, while Geno Smith has made her share of mistakes, and the offensive line has not performed up to snuff. Much of the finger pointing is directed at offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was brought in this offseason to revolutionize an offense that ranked toward the bottom of the league in every metric last season. With a far better quarterback and an influx of young talent, Raider Nation thought there was no way the offense would be as bad as it was last year. Unfortunately, it's been worse, far worse. Not only is Las Vegas Raiders averaging just 14.7 points per game instead of the 18.2 they averaged last year, how is this happening? But they already turned the ball over 13 times, have scored in single digits on 3 occasions already, when they did just once a year ago. Maybe he should get fired. Someone's got to get fired, right? They also got shut out against the Chiefs week 7 as they failed to eclipse 100 yards. We know about the Chiefs. Holy moly, I don't want to talk about them anymore. Raiders should replace Chip Kelly with Mike McDaniel if he is fired. Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel has long been considered an offensive genius. However, with his team taking a step back in consecutive seasons, the franchise already heavily invested in a quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. McDaniel may be the one getting scapegoated in Miami. That could work to the Raiders' benefit, as he would be a massive upgrade over Kelly as a play caller. It doesn't seem like McDaniel's firing is imminent, but it's practically inevitable by the end of the season if the Dolphins continue to struggle. I do think he is going to be fired. If Las Vegas also continues to struggle, adjustments will need to be made both at quarterback and offensive coordinator. That could line up perfectly as McDaniel could enter the fold in Las Vegas with the young quarterback he can help develop. I like this. There needs to be a succession plan for Pete Carroll as well, and if Mike McDaniel could learn a bit under Carroll's tutelage and develop better leadership skills, he could eventually become the franchise's head coach as well. He's still just 42 years old, so McDaniel could be around for the long haul. You know, that's a great point I didn't think about. It's the post-Pete Carroll of it all. Because I thought for the longest time, oh yeah, well look, Pete Carroll will build this thing up, and then we'll just hand the reins to Chip Kelly. Maybe not so much now. Mike McDaniel, not a great head coach, but was able to make Tua work when no one else thought that was going to be possible. At one point, Tua Tagovailoa and that offense seemed like it was unstoppable. Mike McDaniel made it work with a quarterback people questioned. Chip Kelly is not making it work with a quarterback that everyone thought was at least pretty good. Now, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances as to why our team has not been great. A lot of that has to do with the injuries, right? But the facts remain. Chip Kelly, as an offensive coordinator, has never had the success that Mike McDaniel's had as an offensive coordinator. Chip Kelly ran a great offense as a head coach, but those teams never won a lot. Mike McDaniel won some games in Miami, and his offenses, for the most part, have been electric. And I do think the Raiders will do this, and money's not an issue anymore. They will buy out Chip Kelly and give a lot of money to Mike McDaniel. Now, the logical thing may be for Mike McDaniel to go back to San Francisco like Robert Saleh did. But the problem is, he's not going to be calling plays if he goes to San Francisco. He's going to be working under Kyle Shanahan again, who is the play caller. If Mike McDaniel becomes the offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders next year, I think he's proven to have phenomenal relationships with quarterbacks. He showed right when he got hired, I'm going to embrace Tua. There was that FaceTime with him where he said, you're going to be the guy, and we're going to show people that we can win with you in this league. And he did that. Chip Kelly feels like it's my way or the highway. And at the very least, he feels like for my offense to be perfect, I need my players. And I think Mike McDaniel, like Kyle Shanahan, is able to mold the offense around the players that he has. And let me do you one better. Okay, let me pitch this to you. Patrick Graham might be gone next year just because he almost didn't stay this year. And he might get head coaching interviews or whatever because his defense has still been pretty good. And he might finally get his chance to be a head coach. Let's pretend he's gone, or let's pretend he stays, right? And Pete Carroll is still here, and then Mike McDaniel gets hired. The Raiders, there's a report going around that the Raiders tried to make Robert Saleh the highest paid defensive coordinator in the National Football League. Again, that's that Tom Brady money, which means we would have had the highest paid OC and the highest paid DC, and then we had 2 San Francisco coordinators. That would have been a great hire because Robert Saleh is a great hire. But let me pitch you this. Pete Carroll retires one day with Mike McDaniel in place to be the head coach. Or Robert Saleh comes in to be the head coach with Mike McDaniel working under him as the assistant and as the offensive coordinator. I just think we've done a lot of tried to be the Patriots, and that just never worked for anybody. But you know what's worked for a lot of people is try to be the 49ers. Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, right? Mike McDaniel. These offenses transfer and play well all over the National Football League. And I think Mike McDaniel would be an awesome offensive coordinator to bring in to work with the next quarterback that we draft. Imagine the potential of year 3 Brock Bowers, year 2 Ashton Genty. You sprinkle in a little Trey Tucker, Dante Thorne and Jack Besh develop. Maybe you sign somebody. Who knows if Jacoby's still here? And Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or John Mateer under the tutelage of Pete Carroll, Tom Brady, and Mike McDaniel. I'm just saying, if there's a possibility for this to happen, you have to be able to grab him and then let Chip go. If you let Chip go and you weren't able to get Mike McDaniel, then we're going to have a problem. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Would you go after Mike McDaniel? And then what are your thoughts on him being the succession plan? That's interesting. Maybe you let Patrick Graham have it with Mike McDaniel calling the plays. But I do think Pete Carroll's going to be around for a couple of years here. It's looking more and more likely that maybe Chip Kelly won't be, which is unfortunate because he was the highest paid OC, but that's all right. Give that money to somebody else who's been proven, and Mike McDaniel being the OC is something that I could be on board with. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Oh, that's the wrong thing, but shout out to my $5 and $10 patrons and YouTube members. If you want to, join the Discord, that's linked below. The Patreon, shout out to Fume, like I said, that's linked below, guys. It would be a huge help to the channel if you check them out. If you are interested in them, hit that like button, comment away, and please be sure to subscribe to this for no charge to you. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.